Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So please, if you have not subscribed, subscribe to my channel. Like, comment, share, all that stuff is good. So today I have a headless bass from Steinberger. I got 7 facts for you. This bass guitar is from the 80s. It was restored by Jeff from Headless USA. It looks spanking new. So shout out to Jeff. So the first fact about this instrument is that it's made from a composite material that includes carbon fiber and some other plastics. Carbon fiber, not to get too much in the weeds, but carbon fiber is a aerospace grade material. So they use it on rockets, and obviously anything they use on a rocket will have to be high grade, resistance to all kinds of conditions and anything you could imagine. So the whole point of this instrument is the material. Most other builders that copy this instrument didn't use the carbon fiber because the carbon fiber is very expensive, and even up to these days it's even more expensive, of course, than from the 80s. So that's why you don't really see these instruments ever. It's not in production. It's pretty much obsolete because it's very expensive to build a bass out of carbon fiber composite material. So like I said, the whole point was the material of this instrument is what made this instrument very successful, and other instruments that use just wood, not so successful. So like I said, the carbon fiber material is very stiff. It's resistant to temperature and climate. So it was the ideal material to use to build bass. And as far as a construction, but it wasn't ideal on cost, right? There wasn't a lot of profit made from that. But Steinberger decided to use the carbon fiber because he found an issue with the conventional way of using wood as material to build the bass guitars, and because wood is affected by humidity, climate change, and all that stuff. So he decided to use a material that wouldn't have any effect by the humidity and climate. So one thing I can say about the material, it's very stiff. It produces a really good sound. I don't even have it plugged in, and it has a good sound. The sustain is incredible. The punch is incredible. It's like almost the perfect material to use to build a bass with a solid tone and with that punch and that drive. So yeah, the material is notorious. It's always been something that I looked at as like, wow, like building an instrument from carbon fiber is just like ridiculously good. And most people don't realize that that's what makes this bass amazing, because it has no effect to climate and humidity changes. The second fact is that this bass is not a short scale. It is absolutely not a short scale bass. It's a 34-inch scale. And most people that see this bass, because it has a compact body, they might think, oh, it's a short scale because it can fit right above your overhead thing in the plane. So it's not a short scale deal, and it's very comfortable. The string spacing is kind of narrow, but it's not that bad. The third fact here is that it has no truss rod. So when I first got this instrument, I called the guy up and I said, hey, where's the truss rod adjustment? And he was like, there's no truss rod. I was like, oh, of course, because it's not wood, so you don't need a rod in the neck to keep the neck, bowed or straight. So there's adjustment down here at the bridge. I don't know if you can see it, where you have an Allen key insert. You just take your Allen key wrench and you loosen it up, and the bridge saddles move. It's assembly, so it moves all up at once, or it goes down at once. So you could lower or raise the action from just moving the saddles, and it stays in place forever until you make another change. So I thought that was really cool, and it's easy to maintain, and it's stress free. So the fourth thing here is the electronics. So the electronics are pretty interesting. It's based off of a 70s jazz bass. You have volume for the front pickup, you have volume for the back pickup, and then you have a tone control, which is just a 2-band low and high control for EQing. Basically a high pass, low pass filter type deal. And that's it. It's pretty simple. And you know, for a bass that doesn't have any mid-range control, it sits so well in the mix. The presence is amazing. It records, it's the most consistent recording bass ever. Because when I look at the transients, when I record in my my DAW, the transients are very, very consistent compared to a bass that's made out of wood. You know, it's very dynamic. This one is very like consistent. So it has that kind of natural compression, and it has a very consistent and solid tone, very reliable. All right, so the next one here is the tuning keys. So the tuning keys is down at the bridge, and it works just like the conventional way. You turn it clockwise to sharpen the notes, and you turn it counterclockwise to flatten. So it's pretty standard, and it stays in tune for the whole year. I tune it probably maybe once or twice a year, and it stays in tune. And I think that's amazing, especially for a bass player who, for like me, that's lazy and I don't like to tune my bass all the time, but I have to do it, right? Obviously. Yes, so the sixth fact here is that these strings are double balled. So at both ends of the string, there's balls, right? Double ball end strings. So you insert it here at this mechanism, and then you insert down here at the bridge, and that's it. The string comes, you know, prefabricated to length, of course, because you can't cut the string. And all you do is just insert it down here, and that's it. And it's just ease of you know, changing your strings. It's fast. You know, it's everything you would wish for. The seventh and last thing here is the fretboard or fingerboard material. So you may look at it and think it's probably like ebony because it has that kind of jet black finish to it, but it's actually not. You know, when I first got it, I thought it was ebony because it had that jet black finish. And like I said earlier, this bass has no wood components on it. It's all, you know, composite plastic material. So the fingerboard, you don't have to oil the fingerboard. You don't have to do anything. If you want to clean it, you can just get a cotton rag and you just wipe it down, and that's it. But yeah, so I hope this video was helpful. I just wanted to list, you know, 7, you know, facts about this bass, kind of clear up some myths or, you know, some, you know, concerns or maybe some uncertainties about the instrument. And yeah, it's an awesome instrument, and I think it was a really successful design. It still holds up to today. The other thing I started to see a lot lately is builders are now reintroducing headless bass design. Like you have builders like Federa, Michael Tobias Designs, and a lot more that are building their version of a headless bass. But here's the difference, and not to bring any of those companies down, the difference is they're building their bases out of wood. This bass is not built out of wood. It's built out of the carbon fiber composite material. So this bass is already ahead of its game because it doesn't have any effect from climate. The tone is just, you know, impeccable. And I'm not saying that those basses are not, you know, great, but the whole concept behind this thin body was to have a material that could still hold up, you know, to its integrity of sound and tone. Because if you think about it, if you got a piece of wood and you cut it this small, imagine the resonance that you get from a piece of wood this small. Probably not much. That's why a lot of, you know, the Fender jazz basses, the older jazz basses, were a little bit, you know, on the heavier side of things, because, you know, you'd get amazing tone because that body was, you know, dense enough to produce a really good resonance from the strings. So that's something to keep in mind. The more you start to slim down the body of a piece of wood, you know, you're compromising the tone. So that's the whole point of this bass. Like I keep mentioning, I want to drill in your head that this bass, whole point of this bass was the material. The material drove everything. But anyways, I hope you found this video helpful. Please subscribe, like, comment, you know, provide feedback, and I'll see you in the next video.